Welcome. This is a short tutorial on digital darkroom and retouching techniques. We're going to be talking about eyes today. How we're going to retouch eyes. Eyes are the most important feature on a human face. We're going to be looking at eyes first, always when you see a photo of human being. Okay, when we look at eyes, for example, we can tell if the person is young or old, okay, simply by looking at the eyes. What is the difference between an eyes of a baby and the eyes of an old man? Okay, if we compare these two photos, we can see, okay, from a baby's eyes, it's always round and it's more reflective. Okay, and then you see eyes of an older person, you see it's getting a bit dull because they have not as much contrast as in a young person or a baby. And also you can see the contrast between the eye white and the pupil is sharper. You can see a sharper edge there. Okay, and then you see this edge became blurrier as a person grow older. Okay, we can take a look at the people around us and see if we can tell, just look at the eye and tell the age of a person. Okay, so for the illusion of a bigger eyes, companies have developed color contact, right? For example, this color contact lens, you can always see they have sort of like a darker outline around the edge. That sort of create a contrast we talk about. Not just, if you use a color contact lens, not just your pupil are getting bigger. Also, you have a sharp contrast that make you look younger. Okay, so that's an added effect. However, from the early color contact lenses, the line used to be quite sharp. Okay, but these days when you look at it, the line is not as sharp. It became like a dotted pattern. Okay, when we are working with eyes, we try to avoid not make an eye look like a football. Football, I'm talking about American football. The football that you play with hands, okay, not just your feet, okay. Because most most people when they start drawing, they draw the eyes, like this, and they sort of look like a football, which is not a great result. Remember, what is the shape of an eye? Okay, when you think about the shape of an eye is an eyeball, right? So when you think about it, the eyeball is a sphere with a lens sit inside the eye socket. So when you think about eyes, it's not just a flat shape like American football. Okay, it is sort of a sphere, okay, with shadows on the side. When you look at a drawing like this, you can see it is a sphere, right? It's not a flat circular shape, right? It's a sphere. Okay, so an eyeball, meaning you have to make sure the eye look rounded, okay, not like a flat circular shape. Okay, so enough talking, let's move on. Okay, we're going to try a Photoshop tutorial, a quick demo on a studio portrait without makeup. Okay, let's take a quick look. Okay, this is a portrait taken by a student inside our photo studio. Okay, it sort of look like a sort of a standard passport photo. Okay, with sort of a flat lighting. Okay, from a distance it looks kind of okay, right? But if you look closer, ooh, you see a lot of undesirable marks That's why people wake up before they go take a sort of a passport photo, okay, or a small portrait, for example, okay. However, we can retouch and make this look a little better. For example, we can, voila, with some retouching, we can turn the portrait into a much more desirable result. Okay, how do we do it? You can take many steps. Okay, but first we're just going to talk about eyes today. Okay, let's forget about it and start from scratch and just retouch the eye. Okay, first we can start a new layer. Okay, we can start a new layer. Okay, and we can name it. Okay, because look, when you look at it, we can create so many different layers. Okay, so maybe just eye white, for example. Okay, as the first layer. Okay, so we name all layers accordingly. Okay, so you can see in the future, you can change the names and you know what you're dealing with. Okay, so when we look at the eyes, okay, you can see, oh, okay, different colors and all that. All right, so we start a new layer. We start with, say, you start just painting. When you think about Photoshop, it's more like a painting program. Okay, you're painting on top of it. Okay, and you can, for example, use a paintbrush, a brush tool, B. Okay, when you press B on the keyboard, you get the shortcut, for paintbrush. Okay, so you can change the color by toggling from X. You can change foreground and background color like this on this corner. Okay, so we're just going to paint a bit of white. Okay, we can test it by just doing something like this. Okay, something like this. Okay, Photoshop had great functions that you can undo certain functions. Okay, undo and redo certain functions, and then just basically undo something. Just Command Z. Command Z, you can undo certain things. Okay, so this is done. So no harm made. Okay, we did not damage the file. Okay, so don't worry too much about messing up the file. As long as you know what you're doing, and then you start doing something with a new layers, and then you always save the file later, that'd be okay. All right. So for example, for the eye white, remember we try to make the eye more younger, or make it looks more sparkling. Okay, for example, we can just start it with adding some white. Okay, wow, let's do something like this. Okay, then we try the other one also. Okay, right. Whoa, look at this. This is kind of strange. Right. Right. Well, I sort of do it sort of like by freehand. You can do it more precisely with other tools, but this is just for an illustrative purpose. So I just do it quickly. Don't worry too much. We can always change and edit later. Okay. So let's see what we got. Wow, there you go. You got a pair of football eyes. It looks hilarious. Okay, it looks funny because that looks like what we talk about, a flat shape. Okay, and this is not very good. Okay, so but anyway, this is somewhere to start. Okay, so we start from there and then we move on. We can edit and change later. Okay, first of all, we try to make the eyes, the edge between the eye white and the pupil became sharper. Okay, we can change this by deleting some of the white area around that. Okay, so for example, we want to draw a circular market. Okay, that's what you do. Okay, you pick up, you press Option for Mac, and then you hit Shift, and then you draw sort of a perfect circle. There you go. You have a perfect circle, and then you hit Delete. Now you see a sharp edge, right? A sharp edge from the pupil and the eye white. Okay, we can move this. We can move this to the other side. Make sure that both sides are the same. Right? We can move this out to here, somewhere around there. There you go. Or even the, okay, over there, and hit delete. Okay. You have slightly this area is not quite touching yet, so we can change it by selecting inwards. We can paint a little bit along the edge there. Now it's kind of perfect, right? The pupil look really round and super sharp. Okay. Okay, if you hit Command D, that's the select. Okay, oh, now you have a sharp edge. See, when you look like this, wow, you still look like you have that football eyes, right? But we can change later. Okay, let's do it now. All right, we can change the transparency of a layer. For example, if we change this to 50%, oh, it's seeing through, right? Okay. Now it's a little better, so it's more natural. Okay, and then we can also add something called a mask. We can add a mask to the layer, and then we can edit from there. A mask is something like you add something to sort of like when you're in a dark room, you have something to cover up, a projector. Okay, the shape that you cover up is no longer exposed. Okay, so that area would disappear. Okay, let's try real quick. For example, we draw this. Okay, we draw sort of a black line. For example, we draw a black line there. That became a black line there, and then this white became disappear. Wow. Okay, we can always undo, right? So okay, we can touch it up by just drawing back line along the edge. Okay, to refine the shapes. Okay. Okay. If you're not sure, we can always reduce the opacity to see where the outline are. Okay, see, there you go. You can change this easily. Okay, no problem. Right. Okay, so the outline of the eye is basically more precise. Okay, it's right onto the edge. If you go back to 100%, you see, oh, okay, it's more precise. Okay, there you go. We can always touch this up. Okay, so the mask is there, right? We are working on a mask, right? So if I delete the mask, you can just delete the mask. Everything became exactly the same like before, right? So that's why we are not damaging the white. We are just adding a mask, okay, to sort of like fine-tune certain areas. Okay, so let's undo this. Okay, get the mask back. Now remember, we tried to make a circular shape. Okay, so we can make the mask semi-transparent by using the brush tool again. This time we try a lower opacity. Okay, we try a lower opacity, say 23% or something. Okay, well, let's try from there. The brush can be a little bigger. Okay, try a little bigger, and then we go over the edge. We go over the eyelashes. Okay, and see. Okay, that became somewhat transparent, right? You can see through some of it. You can see the eyelashes coming through, right? And then there is a shadow, right? You can see that coming through. Oh, okay, that looks a little better. Okay, remember we talked about the eyeball, right? And the eyeball is a sphere, right? So we have to make the eye looks rounded. So by making it rounded, we can quickly use a bigger brush with a lower opacity and just add something towards the end and the lower bit, okay, the lower part of the eyes. And now we create that illusion of shadow and created this ball shape. Okay, instead of a flat football eye, right? You get a little more dimension. See, now look at this. You look a bit more natural, right? And then you see the edge is sharp, right? You see I look a lot younger with it, okay? See, with or without, okay? You see my eyes are getting sharper. However, it's still kind of scary. We can always change the opacity to lower, right, to a smaller number. It became more transparent, right, and it looks a bit more natural. Okay, for example, when you go outside the street, you go to a grocery store, when you go to a supermarket, if you look at, say, a toothpaste commercials, or you look at some of those commercial skin care products, when you look at the eyes are always clear and sharp. Okay, for example, if the image is smaller, see, you don't notice, the sharpness, you don't notice. That is not that natural. Okay, it looks kind of okay from distance. So when you're thinking about it, okay, when we do retouching, when you think about it, if, say, the artwork is for a poster that you meant to be seen, in a larger size, okay, you can see all the details. You can tone down to become a bit more natural, okay? Say something like this, okay, you can become a little more natural. It's entirely up to you, okay? Right, you can do it quickly and, look more natural. But if you want to, say, do like, advertisement, okay, something, say, on a product shot, or, say, a model or something, then you might want to exaggerate the effect if the image is not meant to be shown in great detail, but small in a small image. Okay, so that's how you sort of do it quickly. Okay, so and then if you're interested, for example, for retouching, we can change the skin tone, we can change everything one at a time. Remember, we talked about, okay, say we can talk about, get rid of the wrinkles, get rid of some of the stubs, right? We can talk about, some of the, we can, enhance the hair, we can reduce eye bag. We can always change, one thing at a time. We can talk about it in future tutorial or future section if we have time. Okay, so this is something you can do, sort of like basic retouch. Okay, when you're done with basic retouch, you can sometimes even add background or change background to, kind of boring thing. Okay, and then you can do something even crazier. Say, wow. Okay, you can do something crazier, or you can even change the skin tone into something entirely different. Well, we can try some of those later in future sections, okay? But at the moment, I hope you enjoy this small tutorial, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.